Did you just touch me?
Head in the clouds.
Hey everybody, welcome to Head in the Clouds. First, I just want to say I'm from the United States of America, so if you're from a different culture, the things in this video may not apply equally to you. Also, I am not a licensed professional. It just makes your skin crawl. You feel violated, like somebody just shocked you or something. You didn't ask to be touched. What is that about? Well, here on Head in the Clouds, we're here to talk about gay mental health and help you explore some of that. Some of you may not be gay, you may be questioning, you may be straight, you may be whatever. So we're going to explore what that looks like too when somebody who you believe is a gay guy is touching you. There's a lot of different things that we could cover here, and I don't think I can cover them all, so please give me some leeway if I leave anything out of this video. The first thing that comes to mind is that if this is going on in a workplace and it's something that's ongoing, they're touching inappropriate places like your genitalia, your breasts, your butt, let them know immediately that this is not okay, that you will contact the authorities if it continues again, document it, and then go ahead and contact a lawyer, go to HR, make it be known this is not all right, because it's not okay. That kind of touch is reserved for somebody that you've gotten to know and you have welcomed into your life over time. That is not something that should be happening at work, and make sure that it's not joked about, it's not funny. Make that clear. Hi, I'm here because 10 minutes ago my coworker just grabbed my butt. I will be contacting a lawyer shortly, and I'd like you to put it on record here. So now, assuming that this is not happening in a workplace, or maybe it's just like a different kind of touch, maybe they're hugging you, shoulder touching, arm touching, whatever it is, let's look into what that looks like. When it comes to more benign types of touch like that, I would first wonder, are we communicating to them that we don't want to be touched this way? Sometimes that's hard. Sometimes we think we might be hurting somebody's feelings or something, but you're allowed to have control over who touches your body, so you can let them know. I just don't like to be hugged, or I don't want you to touch my arm. I don't feel good. Please don't do this to me. Please don't touch me. I don't like it. Now, we're talking about a guy here, right? And we're talking specifically about a gay guy. But something I want to bring to your attention is that not every guy who touches you is going to be gay. Men in different cultures have different ways of relating to each other, so depending on where this person's from, that kind of touch may just be a friendly gesture. Oh, you're from Egypt? That's so cool. Tell me more about how things are over there. Not to mention, not every type of touch is meant to be sexualized, so if a man touches another man on their arm, that doesn't mean that it's sexual. It doesn't mean that there's anything more to it than just being friendly and warm. Sometimes that's how we communicate that we're friendly and warm to people. And that goes for people who are gay too. Gay men sometimes want to communicate that they're friendly and they're warm to somebody. It doesn't mean that they're sexualizing that person. It doesn't mean that they're interested in them in that kind of a way. It just means that they're trying to be friendly. I think a lot of gay men, they feel very isolated from other people, and sometimes that way of communicating with hugs and touches and maybe sharing cheeks together, that's a way of being a little bit more intimate and trying to reach out and connect with people. But it doesn't mean that they're looking for a relationship. It doesn't mean that they're trying to be sexual with you. So if your concern was that this gay guy was interested in you in that way, that may not always be the case. Be aware. Something else to consider is, has somebody else touched you in that way in the past that has been uncomfortable, possibly even abusive towards you? Think about that, because this person may not be trying to bring those things up, but they will come up in your body. If there's an unresolved trauma, maybe this is a reminder that it's probably time to go in and see a therapist and talk about these things and try to figure out why this keeps coming up and how we can manage it, because there are ways to manage it if you have an unresolved trauma in your past. That can be something that could make it really hard to relate with people, and especially in this kind of a case where it's a gay man who's touching you. If you were touched by a gay man in the past, it's only understandable that that would make you uncomfortable. The way that he touched me reminded me of how Quentin used to touch me. But please try to remember that this person is not that person from the past, and their intentions may not be the same as that person. This might especially be poignant if you yourself are a gay male, because the way that you relate to men sometimes is sexualized, and it can get very confusing for gay men. What's the difference between a friendly touch and a touch that's meant to be more intimate and to advance things a little bit closer? So if you're a gay man who's maybe been in an abusive relationship or something, this could be a major trigger for you. And again, this may be a time to look into getting into therapy to resolve some of that. As gay men, we want to be able to relate to each other in ways that are not always sexualized, and we don't always have to be afraid of the touch of somebody else. So moving on from that, there's always a possibility that they do want to move closer to you, because for gay men, that can be a sexualized touch. Or even if not a sexualized touch, just a touch to let you know I'd like to be a little bit more intimate with you. So my question then to you would be, how does that feel for you? I'm assuming you came to this video because there's something awkward or something weird about it. If you're feeling a little bit confused by this might be a good opportunity to explore why. It doesn't mean that you're gay. It doesn't mean that your sexuality comes into play at all about it. It just means you have this weird feeling, and it's okay to have weird feelings, and it's okay to not really understand how you feel. And of course, it's always possible that you know very clearly that you're straight, you're not interested, and you want nothing to do with this person, so communicate that, make that clear if that's the case. But if you do have this kind of weird feeling and you're not really sure of what to do, that could be an indicator that you need to talk this over with a friend or maybe even with a therapist, just to get a greater understanding of why you feel this way. Part of me was uncomfortable, but then another part of me was kind of excited. It's weird. I wonder why I would feel both ways. There's also always the possibility that you do like it and you're scared of what you're feeling because you're scared that you like it and you're scared that you may want to get involved in a relationship again. Maybe you don't feel like you're ready. That could be something else to talk over with friends or a therapist. Something to remember here, especially if you're uncomfortable, is that it's okay to set boundaries. You don't have to reciprocate the touch. You don't have to touch that person back. Just communicating to that person that this is not what you want can go a long way sometimes to avoiding hurt feelings, because if you ignore them, you start to distance yourself from them, they may not understand what's going on. So just letting them know, I don't want to be touched that way, you may be able to keep that distance that you're comfortable with in your friendship or however it is that you relate to this person without making things awkward, without feeling like your needs are getting trampled over. If it's comfortable for you, you can even explain why it is that you don't want to be touched. You don't have to give that explanation though. You don't owe anybody anything. Just make sure that however you decide to communicate this, that you're taking ownership of how you're feeling and you're not putting it out all on them. I just don't want to be touched. I don't have to explain that to you. One more thing to consider here is, have you possibly been inviting some of this touch? And I don't want to in any way blame you if somebody is inappropriately touching you, but you want to be aware of what's within your control here. And if you've been inviting the touch, maybe even by accident, that's important to know. So consider, have you been touching them? Do you stand close to them? Do you always try to be around them? Do you have more intimate conversations with them than maybe other people do? Some of these things, eye contact, nonverbal communication, can make somebody believe that things are more intimate than they really are. So just be mindful of the signals that you're sending out. If you really don't like being touched by this gay guy, then you have to make it very clear, so don't send mixed signals in any way. Hey, I know we joke around a lot, but I'm really not looking for friends right now. And something else to think about, and probably this is not what happened if you wound up here, but I just gotta put it out there just in case. It's possible that you weren't touched at all. Sometimes we can become very hypersensitive to the things that we're feeling internally, and we can believe that they're coming from outside of us. If you're somebody who suffers from delusions, for example, you may think this, or maybe you have intrusive thoughts and you're getting these thoughts mixed up with the body sensations and thinking that it's happening from outside of you. Again, this is not going to be the case for everybody, and it's probably a pretty rare thing, but we have to at least consider the possibility. What was that? Look, I have been there. There are some people I just don't want touching me. Depending on whatever circumstances it is, it may be completely inappropriate, or I just may not want it. That feeling is so uncomfortable when you don't want to be touched. It's like lightning shooting up your back and you just want to crawl right on out of your skin. So if you find that a gay guy is doing this to you, let them know right away you don't appreciate it. If appropriate, consult with a lawyer if this is something that's been ongoing. But please also remember that this person may not be intending to do anything harmful to you. If it's possible, have that discussion with them to try to sort things out. And if you are friends with this person, and maybe it's not as serious as this video maybe is making it sound like, have that talk with that person, try to maintain that friendship, and set the boundaries so you can have a better friendship. Now, if you're somebody who has difficulty with boundaries, over on my Patreon page, I have some free worksheets for boundaries. Check those out. My patrons from Patreon help me to make videos like this one, and they support me in my mission of humanizing mental health. If you'd like to join them, I'd be very grateful. Thank you to the patrons who already helped me. If you like mental health, you like exploring these topics, head over to youtube.com/RyanLiberty, hit subscribe. Now I want to hear your stories, and I want to hear the juicy ones. Please keep in mind that I moderate my comments, and if something's insensitive, it's not going to wind up published. But I'd like to know what you've experienced. Have you found out that somebody wasn't gay who was touching you and you assumed wrong? Did you maybe find out some things about yourself and maybe that you were gay because somebody was touching you? Let's hear about it down in the comments. I want to know. Thanks everybody for joining me here on Head in the Clouds. You know, I'm glad that we talked about this. I didn't want things to be uncomfortable between us.